Are you struggling to come up with original content week in and week out? Start a podcast. Interview your ideal clients, let them talk about what they care about most, and never run out of content ideas again. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to the B2B Growth Show, a podcast dedicated to helping B2B executives achieve explosive growth. Whether you're looking for techniques and strategies or tools and resources, you've come to the right place. I'm James Carberry.
And I'm Jonathan Green.
Let's get into the show. Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. We're here today with Josh Mendelsohn. He is the VP of Marketing at Privy. Josh, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am wonderful. So, Josh, we're going to be talking today about something that I think is going to shock a lot of people. We're talking about this idea of optimization being overrated. And you guys, this isn't just something that you guys say. You guys are living this. Your business has grown dramatically, kind of flying in the face of this traditional idea that, you got to optimize everything. And so I'm excited to dive into this story a bit. But before we do, can you explain to us just a little bit about Privy and what you and your team are up to over there?
Sure. So we are a software company, software as a service, and we provide marketing automation to small and medium-sized businesses, sort of in the way of on-site pop-ups and other displays, along with triggered emails designed to help our customers grow their email list, drive online sales, and for a lot of merchants, reduce cart abandonment.
Love it. So Josh, as we were talking offline about this idea of optimization being overrated, you said something to me that was very interesting. You said, we as marketers, we settle for these 2 to 3% conversion rates really because we don't know what else to expect. We don't have any other kind of benchmark to to run against. And so we just end up settling for 2 to 3% conversion rates on our sites. But you guys have actually seen substantially better results than that. Can you kind of walk us through this idea?
Yeah, sure. So, I think a lot about online conversion. And, I think there's a bunch of things that we know as marketers. First of all, we know that not everyone who's visiting our website is looking for the same thing. We know that we should be creating these more targeted, relevant experiences. But we also know that, hey, no one's going to get fired if we have this 2 to 3% conversion rate, even though we also know that that's not very good. If you were in a store or in a trade show booth and you only got the email address of 2% of the people who walked up, you'd get fired for that, right?
Yeah.
But so many marketers answer that problem with this, we're just going to spend more money to drive more people to our site. We're going to hold our 2%, hold our 3%, and we're just it's a math equation, right?
Yeah.
So most marketers sort of fall into three buckets. And, as a marketer, I've certainly been guilty of these at times too. Well, where the first is sort of this idea of being frozen, right? Where I just don't know what to do, so I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to let my website or whatever, or my direct sales team do all the selling and walk away. The second group is sort of this one-size-fits-all group where they're like, hey, I'm going to put up, one message for everyone, and it's going to be great. And then the third, and I think on the B2B marketing side, this is where too many of us fall, is this sort of over-optimized group where every lever people are trying to fine-tune every single lever. So instead of saying, which just doesn't scale very well. So I've got a landing page for every ad, and I'm optimizing the ad, and I'm optimizing the audience, and I'm optimizing the landing page. And at the end of the day, all you're doing is trying to optimize for these tiny little portions of your audience, when in fact, there's really big opportunities to say, these are the top 2 or 3 sources for me. I'm going to create a relevant message for them, and I'm going to drive them to conversion through each part of the funnel. So at the top, the middle, and the bottom.
Could you walk us through, Josh, just to give us kind of a real practical look at what this looks like? So for your own business, obviously you guys are B2B. What did this look like as you guys were drinking your own champagne, if you will, and doing this for yourself?
Yeah, sure. So, for us, one of the big keys to our growth as a business has been integrating with Shopify. So we have tons of Shopify merchants who use Privy in their stores. And we kind of looked at that and said, okay, first of all, this is awesome. They're growing like crazy. We're growing like crazy. But also, that's a different type of traffic that's coming to our website. They already know a little bit about us. So what we've done is we've created specific pop-up messages that if someone has been to our Shopify App Store page, they're getting a different message when they hit our site, and they're being directed to specific things on the site. So they get welcomed. We acknowledge that they're a Shopify merchant, and we drive them directly to sign up for our product or to a specific piece of content that relates to the Shopify experience. Right? We're not getting micro underneath that, but what we're saying for that audience is we understand what you're doing. We're going to be specific, but we're not going to overdo it. You can create a pop-up message in, a couple of minutes as opposed to these highly optimized landing pages. And then we take that same audience and we get them into an email nurture flow. And we also use that audience to create retargeting lists based on both the fact that they've been to the Shopify page as well as if they've signed up for a Shopify related asset, we're then plugging that back in. So we're using retargeting and we're using email to drive them back to our site.
Got it. And so as a result of that type of personalization based on a big portion of the people that are coming to you guys' site, like what do you guys notice from a conversion standpoint based on doing that?
So we're seeing well over 20% conversion on those types of things, which is, it's a highly qualified audience, but we're seeing instead of 2 to 3, we're seeing, well over 20% conversion on that traffic. And we've done that with a couple other of our key audiences too, where we're able to say, this is worth spending the effort on. And we'll get, 10, 15, 20% conversion on those and just say, you know what, for these smaller traffic audiences, it's just, we're a small team. We're not going to invest the resources to focus on that. We're going to give them a good experience, but it's not going to be as personalized or as optimized.
For several years now, I've been using a graphic design service called Kappa 99. You've probably heard me talk about them on the show before because it's one of the best investments we've ever made in our business. For just $399 a month, you can get unlimited graphic design. Seriously, it really is unlimited. You can have them design your infographics, case studies, and all of your blog posts and social media graphics. They even do t-shirt designs, email signatures, and book layouts. So head over to b2bgrowthshow.com/design and sign up for their 15-day free trial. That's b2bgrowthshow.com/design. You're going to love it. All right, let's get back to this interview. So you guys obviously, figured out a lot of traffic was coming to your site from Shopify. Could you share maybe some other personas just to give some more ideas to the folks listening to get them thinking about, okay, what are the big kind of buckets of traffic that are coming to us?
Sure. So Google AdWords is another good example for us where we basically have 2 types of ads that we run. The first is very product centric, and that's actually a big driver of traffic for us. So when those folks are coming from those big ad sets that we run, we're able to give them a very product specific message that connects to the ad that they've seen and pushes them directly to sign up instead of having them browse around the site. So that's one way that we do it. Whereas there are some other keywords that drive a little bit of traffic and they're worth doing, but they're fine with a more generic experience. We do the same thing on Facebook when we're pushing our content. When someone hits our site from one of those ads, we're directing them to the content that they've been looking for or some other related resources instead of pushing them to, a sign up. So understanding what those big groups are, we're able to give them a relevant message, again, without creating dozens of optimized landing pages for it.
Makes sense. So, and because of this, the retargeting that you guys are doing, the messaging that you guys are doing based on these personas, you've been able to grow without growing an enormous sales team. Can you elaborate on that for us?
Sure. So, I've certainly worked at high growth companies where the growth strategy is let's hire more BDRs, right? Let's get a bunch of 22-year-olds pounding the phones and that's how we're going to grow. what we've been able to do, because we have a freemium model and we've taken this approach of getting as many people, converting as many people into users as possible, we're able then to see how they're using the product, what they're integrating with, and give our the one member of our direct sales team, he's so well informed by the time he's actually picking up the phone to call these guys that he can tell what e-commerce platform they're using, what email service provider they're using, what their traffic volume is, all through information we're able to gather. So he's not wasting his time with people who would never possibly buy.
That's incredible. And so you said that there is one person on the direct sales team?
Yep, there's one. We may triple that to 3 over the course of the year, which is like nothing for a B2B company. I think we want to we're taking a very steady approach to growth, but we know that direct sales is, a little bit of gravy for us, and there's a certain kind of buyer that requires that. But we get plenty of, pretty established businesses who like to use Privy as a self-serve tool, and we're totally fine with that.
I love it. This has been incredible, Josh. I think it's definitely going to be an episode that our listeners enjoy and learn a lot from. I appreciate you sharing your story. If there's somebody listening to this, they want to learn more about you, stay connected with you, or learn more about Privy, what's the best way for them to go about doing that?
You can certainly hit me up on LinkedIn or on Twitter. I'm at @Mendelsohn_Josh. And then we are at privy.com and on all the social channels, at Privy on Twitter, get Privy on Facebook. And we're playing around with Instagram, where we feature a bunch of customer stories as well. And that's just Instagram/Privy.
Love it. Awesome, Josh. Well, thank you so much for your time today. This has been fantastic. So I really appreciate it, man.
Thanks a lot, James. Have a great day.
There are lots of ways to build a community, and we've chosen to build the B2B growth community through this podcast. But because of the way podcasts work, it's really hard to engage with our listeners. And without engagement, it's tough to build a great community. So here's what we've decided to do. We're organizing small dinners across the country with our listeners and guests. No sales pitches, no agenda, just great conversations with like-minded people. We'll talk business, we'll talk family, we'll talk goals and dreams. We'll build friendships. So if you'd like to be a part of a B2B growth dinner in a city near you, go to b2bgrowthdinners.com. That's b2bgrowthdinners.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.